Sofo is a professor of agricultural chemistry by the University of Basilicata in Italy. His focus on plant growth and water stress, as well as on the comparison between traditional and organic farming.
And, it is important to use drip irrigation. Here an example for nectarine, a comparison between microjet irrigation and drip irrigation in only 20% of the field. And this also causes benefits to greenhouse gases emissions, because the wetted areas are more prone to release greenhouse gases compared to the dry areas. Or another solution could be the use of wastewater. About 10% of world food is produced using wastewater, and we are doing the research on this using municipal wastewater that can be distributed and used for fertigation. And this is a realistic and safe agronomic practice, as the potential pathogens are released into the soil, but they don't survive because they suffer the competition from the other soil microorganisms. But sustainable management can change the capability of soil to be a sink of carbon and not a source of carbon. Here, for example, is the soil organic carbon stock after 20 years of sustainable management. It is a paper published, a case study published in the FAO volume Recarbonizing Global Soils, about an experimental olive orchard that we have followed for 20 years. And you can see here the capacity of the system to increase carbon storage into the soil and into the permanent structure of the trees. But there are also socioeconomic advantages. For example, production, sustainable and conventional. Sustainable production is very high, significantly higher compared to the conventional olive oil production, especially because the off years, with the years with lower production, are removed. And this is true not only for olive, but for many fruit crops, Mediterranean fruit crops, like grape, peach, apricot, kiwi fruit. So sustainable means more carbon into the soil and less greenhouse effect. And of course, the carbon footprint, that it is becoming negative, but negative is in a good sense, in the sense that carbon is accumulated into the soil during the field activities. Here, the comparison between the sustainable with a positive, with a negative, this means that soil is a carbon sink compared to the conventional, where the soil is a carbon source. So, in conclusion, it is important the production, of course, but agriculture must be multifunctional. It is a multifunctional rural activity, not only aimed at production, but including to a wide range of ecosystem services, especially those aimed to climate change. It is important the transition from a linear to a circular economy, and this can give significant benefits for rural stakeholders and agroecosystems in the long term. And fruit crops are very important from an economical point of view, but also from an environmental point of view. You can imagine that olive, for example, in the Mediterranean olive land cultivated by olive is 10 million of hectares. And so we have the technology, we have the knowledge, but we have to transfer this and to disseminate this knowledge to the farmers, to the people, to the public, to everyone, to policymakers, because we have to inform. Research is not enough. Augusto said that why we don't realize that we are in danger, and maybe because we don't have many shared knowledge. The knowledge is concentrated sometimes, not always, in the scientific communities, there is a lot of knowledge. There are a lot of publications, but most of these publications are too much specific, and they are not read but normal people, and so there is the need of transfer of this knowledge, of transferring knowledge, and this is extremely important, not only to the farmers but to the public. Otherwise, everyone will see his own benefit, and everyone will cultivate its own garden. So knowledge sharing can be the secret. Maybe it's not the only solution. Maybe the changes are too fast, and we don't have we live in continuous urgency. We are bombarded by newspapers, by news, by television, and so we have the impression to live in a dangerous world, and we don't take into account more important problems like climate change that can be more dangerous than war in a medium term.
Thank you, Adriano.
Thank you. Thank
We
you for
will discuss everything at the end. I let Fernando Cesario take the screen.
Yeah.